So now this is where we're going to figure out where your problem began. And so I'm going to start where you say it hurts, because again, most people think that that's where the problem is. But more than likely, I would say about 8, 9 out of 10 times, that's not where the problem is. That's just where the problem ended up. So I'm actually going to search the whole shoulder, down the whole arm, and we're going to search the whole upper quadrant of the back. Okay, and we want to see everything. Now, what you're going to experience here is basically like a Charlie horse. Okay, if you've ever had a Charlie horse, muscles tighten up. The reason you get that is because that's a guarding mechanism. So what we're basically doing is allowing the body to experience a perceived stimulus. We're going to, basically trick your mind into thinking that you're out doing something with your shoulder that it doesn't like. So we're going to see those muscles tighten up. What I'm looking for is what produces the greatest Charlie horse, in essence, okay, because that tells me where the greatest amount of guarding is happening. Therefore, that's where we need to treat, okay? All right, so your job is just to breathe and relax. Okay. Just like if you've ever gotten a deep tissue massage, if someone's working on a knot and you tense up, it makes it worse, but if you breathe and relax, it's not so bad. That's what this is going to be like. Okay? All right, so you point to where you normally feel the pain.
Just like a band in through here.
Okay, so we'll start there, and then we'll go around. And more than likely, I can tell you for shoulder injuries, anything that involves that bicep tendon is a lot of times where we're going to be working. So I'll start there, but we'll check everything. All right, so right here.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to see the hand. Okay.
Sorry.
That's fine. All right, let's check the shoulder. Okay, let's check the upper back. Okay, a lot of times, like I say, a lot of those shoulder problems originate with the rotator cuff back here in the scapula. Okay, we got the, there's a hot spot. Okay, so that was that biceps tendon that we were talking about. Okay, and right there. Okay, so normally, like when people get good at this, they are used to it, they can call out numbers. We usually use the 1 to 10, like, ooh, there's my 10, there's my 8, there's my 3. Yeah. Hard part with day one is you don't know what a 3 versus a 10 feels like.
Right.
So what I'm looking for is I can see how the muscle's actually reacting, how it's contracting. So from what I saw, this spot here and then that bicep tendon up here, those were your major hot spots. Yeah. So usually what I find at the end, and we actually had one more down here underneath, so then I kind of do what the optometrist does, where they flip the lenses and say which one's worse, A or B. Yeah. Okay, so you just tell me which one has the most intense contraction, and that's where we're going to start. Okay. So I'm just going to go A, Woo! Yeah, B, or C right there.
Oh, yeah.
C.
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't have to say it. I could see it from what was happening. So that's where we're going to start. Okay. All right, so we know that that part of the shoulder is not communicating with the brain effectively, but it is communicating somewhere. So we got to find out where that is. So I'm going to keep this on that spot. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what turns this back on. So for example, if I put this here on the wrist, you don't really feel that. But I'm guessing if I come here, see how that turns it on. So different parts of the body communicate differently, okay? So I'm going to do that same search with this pad, and we're going to find what turns that on the most. So there, not as much. Tricep, not as much. Again, there, that's a lot. Okay, let's come back. The shoulder, yeah, there's a little bit there. And we're okay all through here. All right, so we can see that that spot in there was what turned that on the most, okay? All right, so that search and destroy, we're done with that. That is what tells me where to treat. So all we're gonna do is wrap those spots.
That was bizarre.
Okay, because basically you have to remember all we're going to do is take a magnifying glass to your compensation patterns. So now, because when you go to put the milk back in the refrigerator, your shoulder is compensating, but you're not naturally aware of what's happening. So as I do this, and we're tricking your brain into thinking that you're under a high load, a high stimulus, so therefore your brain wants to protect, but we're doing it at a high enough stimulus that those compensation patterns become visible. So now that they become visible, guess what? We get to do something about it. You can actually affect change.